and the wind blew long and hard, but still I didn't budge, just stood there clutching my pump on the forecourt until the snow had settled on my brow and I lost a knee to frostbite. Well, I'm honoured to be able to introduce the finale of an enlightening 4-part docubiopic called Zero, a love affair with nothing. If you've missed the other 3, don't worry, they're available online on the internet, and anyway, this is sure to be the most influential one. Stay tuned and ride the railroad of art with Maurice Peacock, a babe in the woods if ever I knew one.
Please note, if you're of a nervous disposition, prone to heart palpitations, or culturally deficient, this program could cause permanent damage. We are not liable for any revelations you may undergo during the program, and if you fear the sublime, please turn over after the tone.
Artist, social agitator, and poubelier, Stephen Zero is swaddled in the public consciousness, most of all for his thanklessly empathetic expulsions, known to you, the unwashed listener, as art. Welcome. Rampant globalization was threatening all forms of humanity and civil conscience. Artist and contemporary Mary Moon painted The Bastard Banker in 1966, a piece which was seen to represent the subtle anti-authoritarian mood of this era. There was a striving to break away from material dependency and the systems which held them in place. Stephen and his contemporary thinkers wanted to move away from the goods-based system of living to a purer and more unified existence. The progress of his work can be best understood as a crusade against the despotism of custom. Although each became more powerful than the last, a common theme of objection to the norm is found running syrup-thick through his pancake of art. Broken Telephone, Fruit of Protest, and Gob stand out as pieces crying for human clarity and emotional confessions of truth. However, the final act in the drama of Stephen's career is still remembered as his most lasting. From the tender repressed Bucks youth to a cult hero and artistic sensation by the late 60s, Stephen had really made it. His work and its tectonic impact was beyond question, but he was not done. Here follows a dramatised extract from my own biography of Stephen, available from all booksellers worth their salt.
Summer 1969, New York City. A sweltering hot July day in central New York, and Stephen's lost. The sun beaming down onto his intelligent face, he clambered through civilians trying to find home. Crawling through herds of people, rushing about their material business, exchanging sin for sin from purse to cash till, saccharine dreams of more oozing from their infected heads. Sun getting hotter, creeping closer to Stephen's creamy beige cerebellum. Thank you. Nice to see you. Have a nice day, they lied. Stephen clawed. Handbags, briefcases, and backpacks swarmed around his precious head like hungry blackbirds. We want more, they howled. More, he heard them whisper. More, they cried. We want more stuff, they chanted. A hymnal to the neon superstore. Feed us, O Lord of material goods, they prayed. Give us stuff for the autumn season. Stuff for the bathtub. Give us more stuff for the spice rack, more stuff for my living room, they prayed, in troubling unison. Give us more to hang on our shoulders, O Lord. More to drape on our heads, more to cover our toes. Give us costumes, O Lord, to pay homage to you. We thank you, O Lord of material goods, for you are us and we you. Creating a cathedral of wants, they trapped Stephen, covered by greed, trapped by material desire. Too much stuff, too many things, claustrophobia, suffocation, losing life. Nothing, nil, empty. Stephen hummed. Deep in a meditative poise, reduce, clear, he said, in riposte. Reduce all to nil. Purity, clarity, reduce the empire of want, make it crumble. Make those who worship the shopping malls burn for their heretical ways. Show them the light of purity, reduction, simplicity, nil. Make them tremble. Make the empire of want weep at the feet of my revolution of nothing.
This was the pinnacle moment of the dénouement of Stephen's artistic progress. He had realised that amidst the consumer obsession and material worship, art had developed to a point of absolute truth. To do this, it had to depart from the material world. For art to mean everything, it had to become nothing. It had to empty itself of material bias and visual prompts. It had to become a portal and not a roadblock. It needed to provide a reflection to society and not a portrayal of it. The only meaningful, truthful and enduring way of doing this was to take the clutter out of the art. Beyond the minimal. This was art refined. Art inverted, anti-art. Stephen called it nihilismo. After some months locked away in his apartment-cum-living area studio flat, Stephen had finished his final and most powerful work, called simply Nil. Immediately shipped to London, it was placed by itself in the main exhibition room of the Tate Modern. It has been described by lunatics and lepers as absolutely nothing, literally nothing at all. Indeed, some shamefully missed the point and were outraged at the seeming absence of art, and complained that if they had paid with physical money, they deserved physical art. Their souls were lost. The experience of walking through to the Emperor's Room in the Tate Modern was, for me, the most moving and troubling ever. Stephen's sculpture had transformed through a process to a pure and natural ending point of absence. Nil extracted the fanciful fluff of art. It removed the heavy-handedness of art. It placed the viewer centre stage. It made those viewing the piece become the piece. Standing in a materially empty room left one reflecting purely and completely inwards. Indeed, finding yourself there made one feel very much like the piece of art itself. Stephen had the skill, foresight and audacity to scrap the outdated hammer and chisel. Stephen placed our conscience, our bodies and our souls on display for ourselves to see. Shocking, terrifying, painful, cathartic, honest, humbling. As the wave of bafflement and transgression crashed on the shore of transcendental understanding, the more intelligent critics, such as myself, were often found laying face down in sandpits and beanbags, searching for nothingness. Maybe searching for Stephen, who had finally lived up to his name. The zero, the perfect zero. But of course, he was never there. In fact, he was nowhere to be found. Whether in the purity of his nil he became God, or was lifted up as a brother to Jesus, Muhammad, and all those Hindu ones, or whether he moved to a remote part of the Isle of Wight, Stephen had completed the miracle of his revolution of absence.
Oh yeah, the nail piece was totally wow. For me, you really became the ultimate celestial donut man. Oh yeah, big little round-faced girly boy sitting in the pastry of life, carving out the window of the humanity, eating out all the custard filling and leaving a big hole of custardless vacuum space for us.
Ultimately, of course, it can be said that Stephen never really existed. To many of you listening now, there will be murmurs of suspicion that this intellectual leviathan could never have been real. He seems too far-fetched, you say, too absurd, too radical. His ability to meddle with the mind and reform social ideas often does defy belief. It leaves many thinking of him as little more than the pompous fictional creation of cynics laughing at the idea that such a person could exist, laughing indulgently in their own shallow insights and knee-jerk mockery. Of course, it is hard to tell whether Stephen did ever exist in the sense that you believe. Perhaps he was not flesh and bones, but his spirit was very real, the spirit of belief, of creation. He was the thing in your mind whilst you're standing in a crowd of people at an art gallery, staring at a blank canvas. He was the spirit in your mind whilst you're clasping your chin next to the staring, spectacled, thinking lady. He was the voice that said, "Think, think, for God's sake, think. There is something going on here. There must be something going on here. I mean, I'm bloody here now. I've paid to get in. There must be something. All these people, they get it. I bet they get it. We wouldn't all really be here if none of us got it, would we? Ah, maybe that's it."